Hello everyone. I'm supposed to be doing a sample advert for my latest book that came out, which is the Viper Clan book 5 Time to Wed. Unfortunately, because I had my tooth out the same week it was published, I couldn't do a sample till now. It's now 3 weeks since I had my tooth out, so I'm able to talk much better, though you will occasionally hear um, there is a slight sound difference because I've now got 3 missing teeth. All from my own stupidity. But So I will do the advert for it now, and basically with this story, there's nothing major that happens in the sense it's not supposed to be ridiculously dramatic. It's following what the love lives of the children become, and it's moving on to make room for the next generation slot because the next book, The Crooked Serpent, which I'm very close to finishing now, and then I've got a load of editing to do for December, is a bit of a heavy book. So, and also got some short ones that I'm working on. One that's nearly finished, which is Beauregard's story. It's only a short story, but that's why he's not part of this collection. But yes, so Time to Wed focuses on first. It kind of goes straight after The Bat and the Snake, so straight after Gaston and Annette's wedding. Sorry, that's a spoiler for some people. And we see their honeymoon and basically their experience of being a werewolf and a vampire together at a time when that's still considered illegal in the Vale. Then we move on to Elaine actually going to Tonawak and going to Mexico with the other brides, and the issues with her being aromantic and not really very emotional about the relationship, but actually experiencing what it's like to be married and to have a partner like him and to be in a different place because the social structure is not necessarily the same, and with her being a feminist and all, and to be honest, incredibly privileged. It's learning a bit of what can and can't be done and where she's pushing the boundaries. So she's sort of learning a bit in that one. It also, after what happened in the Bat and Snake, is her and Tonawak moving on from that. Then we cover Serena and Noelle's partnership. Those two are so cute together. Considering everything, they're still so cute together. And this one's quite funny in some ways because you'd think things would be straightforward for them because they're so perfect for each other. But when Serena is Mersha's only child, he's a little more protective than you would expect. Plus, we get to meet the other members of the Romanian nobility, and they're really quite fun. Then we do another little bit with Celine and Kirkwartle, but it's that one is probably a bit bittersweet. But if you have read Ancient Venom, you'll understand its situation and how it goes about, and also the fact that it's the big question with them both over what's more important. Then we get to the more exciting ones. We get to Tybalt's one. Now, Tybalt's chosen bride is revealed in this one, and well, Tybalt reveals a very big secret that's part of the problem of him being the way he is, especially around his brother. And it's harsh, and I mean harsh. It's I don't go into too much detail because it's just him recounting the situation, but it goes through his difficulties and why he's such a I want to say he's a pain in the ass, but that would not be appropriate considering the situation. So, if you want to know Tybalt's big secrets and things and the issues he is going to constantly have and that will constantly determine everything that happens in his life, and this is really important, really, for book 8, which is called The Last Rattle, because it references something that's likely to happen. His part is a good part to read. Then we have the final part, and it's with Odette. Now, Odette has not really had much of a presence amongst the other kids because, of course, Theodora's the baby and she's very loud and very crazy, and Beauregard has his whole flirtatious nature and stuff, and compared to her older sisters, Celine and Elaine, she's sort of the quiet one. She's more subdued one. So with her actually having the chance to write a really sweet romance is lovely, and hopefully is enjoyable for anyone that reads it. Also, it covers something that is a little different for the Vale because Odette goes to England she moves over there, and she experiences that what they sort of see as the normal culture and the normal attitude on the continent is not necessarily the same on the island. And that's mainly to do with the fact that the Vilmores haven't got power anymore. So Taliesin is an ex-count at this point. So the whole respect level for vampires is much more to do with classism than it is for the sort of heritage that's left over. But anyway, I really enjoyed writing it because it was probably the most simple one of the stories to do because it was nice and sweet and I didn't have too much drama, and it was just so nice to give all of the characters a nice bit. Though Tybalt's was really hard to write, but probably more because I was writing it at a time when I'd opened up about some of my own issues, and that writing his bit actually was helpful for that. But I won't go into that. So I'm going to give you a preview now. I'll read you a little bit of the prologue. Right, so let's get to the prologue then. Okay, so prologue, The Chosen Bride. Tybalt Viper turned down the lane towards the household of the Volturi's Count. His manner relaxed and his looks as regal as they ever were within the dark hours of the night. He looked as if he were going to another business meeting, his manner always charming and confident as he greeted the security guard at the gate, but in truth he was hardly confident. His body was trembling with excitement and horror all at once, the fate of the entire family in France resting on his shoulders, resting on this one decision. He could trust that Philippe Voltaire would make a good decision for him, would choose with the best interest for his daughter and the future in mind, but Tybalt was anxious. After everything that had happened, everything that had occurred in the household with his sisters, and indeed the shame the oath still held the family in, everything was on him, and Tybalt froze by the garden maze. He grasped the firm square hedge to steady himself, feeling the uncomfortable and horrible agonies within his body as if he were being riddled with holes, and he clenched his teeth firmly to stop himself hollowing out, the stress too much. At least, it would have been too much if someone had not stepped up out of the maze in time to grasp his hand, giving him reassurance as the wave of pain passed by. Monsieur Viper, you are in agony. Are you quite well? Have you had enough blood, or are you in need? Are you all right? The soft words from the trembling figure reached Tybalt's ears, and he breathed a sigh of complete relief and tightened his own grasp around the hand in thanks. It was always reassuring when the one to find him weak was someone he knew he could overpower, someone that was too simpering to use such a thing against him, too genteel and compassionate to ever be a threat. But more than that, to know that it was Jacinthe holding his hand, somehow it made his heart ease, and his anxieties fade when he opened his eyes and saw her soft little hazel-coloured eyes with that lovely auburn hair. He gave a soft mention of how pretty her hair looked today, and her face went bright red. Well, mon père asked us to be at our most beautiful today. I knew it was because you were visiting, but thank you. Dear Jacinthe, you should know, it is not for my usual business today. Do you know that today your father has summoned me, because he has made his decision? From today I will know where I stand in your future, and it quite upsets me. Tybalt grimaced in frustration as he straightened up, and to his surprise Jacinthe led him to the hedges, where there was a small enclave with a little ornament of a nymph with a satyr chasing it near a little fountain, where a smaller form was spewing water from some panpipes into a frog pond. Here there was a stone bench to sit upon, as the frogs croaked and skipped upon their lily pads in blissful ignorance of the predators in their midst. Here Jacinthe urged Tybalt to sit, but he grimaced at the thought of the hard stone to his wounded posterior, and was unsure how to say anything about it. But Jacinth had been noticing those few little weaknesses that Tibble showed the world, things that embarrassed him terribly, and though she could not comprehend them, she swiftly scooped up her large red velvet skirt into a ball and sat it upon the bench beside her, showing off her little brown shoes and her neat little nylon stockings without shame as she patted it for him to sit on the fabric. Tybalt just blushed as he sat beside her, comfortable and yet so very depressed. Jacinth, do you have any thought on what your father has planned? And I'll leave it at that for you. I hope that intrigues you. After all, the prologue tends to be what's available to read for free when you look at the Amazon preview. So the link to the... Sorry, one of the cats has decided to jump on the table. The link to the paperback and the Kindle edition I will put in the bottom. It'll be for the Amazon.com thing, but you can find it easily if you just search the Viper. If you just search Time to Wed, the Viper Clan on Amazon, on your whatever Amazon you're on. Okay, thank you very much. Bye.